To Parliament, Joseph Gakpo is getting ready to bring us up to speed on what's happening there. But it may surprise you to know that the struggle that some rural students go through to seek education can be really hard. In the following report, Joy News' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin highlights the plight of local Islamic school in a village near Bawku in the Upper East region, which is yet to see the introduction of secular education decades after it was introduced.
In this small village, about 25 minutes of bicycle ride from Bawku, known for its high level of Quranic education, a quiet revolution is taking place. The people are yearning for secular education. Like many revolutions, the spark is coming from the Arabic school, which has produced many known Islamic scholars. Even without good structures for teaching and learning, Agents of Change, a group of young and dedicated teachers with vision, wants to break the old tradition of just Islamic knowledge. The local school is co-educational. The intelligence of these little boys and girls, some from neighboring countries, can be properly developed if proper infrastructure is provided. Almost all pupils are barefooted. They have no chairs and tables to sit and write on. Some sit on the floor while others lean against walls to take lessons. Their major learning material is the wooden slate and a local ink, which is used to write on the slate. For more than 5 decades, children have been taught in this manner. They sleep in these structures after the day's lessons and wait for the next day to come with its own challenges. Here, everything is free. Pupils are not being charged for the education. We need help for the sake of Allah. Help us with books and other essential materials that will make studies here better. Some people have come in the past, but we are yet to see any help. Directors and teachers here wish the situation could change for the betterment of the children.
There are over 300 students here. We teach them and take care of them, their medical bills and everything for free. The shelter was raised by them. We are benefiting so much from the school because we get to know Allah.
Abdul Rahman is another teacher here.
They don't pay anything for whatever service we provide, but challenges are hindering the better service we want to provide.
Aminatu Alhaji Mukhtar is one of the 25 female pupils here. Her desire is to become a scholar, but there are some challenges. We want philanthropists to support us to become better people in future. Pupils here are the worst victims during Harmattan. We go through hardship during Harmattan. The situation becomes worse during the dry season. Aside that and other challenges, we are okay with the teachers. Until help comes to these pupils, their situation will remain the same.
Fantastic work by the Agents of Change there in the Upper West region. Well, very soon, like I said, we'll be going to Parliament to see what's happening. We're also waiting and expecting a press conference by the Interior Ministry on what's happening in Bimbila. But for now, in just about 4 days, it will be Valentine's Day, and people will be doing, reaching out to people with love as they say. Not everybody believes in it, by the way. But if you remember, we had a conversation not so long ago with Kobna, who is one of Ghana's highlight sensations. Well, he was talking about his love concert, which should be coming up tonight. And like I said, we've got just about 2 complimentary tickets for people who would want to be a part of it. But we want you to show us commitment that you've been watching Pulse. But just so you know, there was an injunction against that particular, that was trying to restrain organizers of the love concert from coming off. That case has been thrown out in courts, like we said. Frema Ashka manages Kwabna. She joins me on the telephone lines now with some more information. Hello, Frema, thank you very much for your time here on the Pulse.
All right, thank you for having me.
So you were in court. What reliefs were being sought against you?
All right, let me say a good afternoon to you and to all the listeners of Joy FM and also to the viewers of Pulse TV. Right, so this morning we were in court, myself and my lawyer, lawyer Kwame Okupo. You know, there was an application for an injunction. I'm sure this has been in the media the latter part, greater part of this week. So Other Investment was trying to get an injunction on the lab concert, but we're in court this morning to hear the plea. And after debate, the judge realized that, well, there wasn't any case against us, and so the case was dismissed.
Okay, what I wanted to know was what the reliefs were. What did the person who took you to court want? And on what basis were they standing and trying to restrain you from organizing or letting this show come off?
Well, I'm not too sure exactly what they wanted, because when you look at the case they were raising against us.
Hello, Frema, can you hear me? It seems that we've lost Frema Ashka. We'll try and raise her back on the line if we can, but we're talking about the tonight's love concert by Kwabna, who granted us an interview not so long ago, talking about the show. That show, someone sought to, prevent the show from happening, so there was an injunction on it. They've been to court, and the court has thrown out the case. She was just about telling us the release that were being sought by the person who sued them, and the line went bad, but we'll be going over to them as well. Right this moment, we've got to take another quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still putting in efforts to raise Frema Ashka back on the telephone line. Hello, Frema, can you hear me now? Sorry about that. We lost you briefly. You were telling me about the release being sought against you.
Yeah, they raised some issues that were pretty much unfounded, but I really wouldn't want to go into the legalities of the case. I'm sure lawyer Kwame Okupo will be the right person to explain that to you. But whatever it was, the court did not find it substantial, and so the court dismissed their application. And so the good thing is we have a concert coming up tonight, and it is a Vitamin Love Night concert with Kwabna Manifest EL. You're seeing Kina Soul, and it's going to be fantastic. So everyone should grab their tickets and be at the National Theatre this evening.
It sounds pretty much like a very close shave. Today is the show, and you had to be in court earlier today. How has this case affected the show? Because earlier on you had this injunction had been in the press as well.
It has not affected the show in any way. For us, we've been pretty positive that we have nothing to worry about. Our lawyer gave us good advice, and so we knew that if I could the General Secretary of NDC were in a comfortable league. So, and that is why we kept promoting the show, because we knew that there was nothing like an injunction, and nobody had served as an injunction. It was this morning that they were trying to get that. But like we all know, the rest is history.
I see. If you had no injunction, then why were you in court, by the way?
It was an application for an injunction.
Okay.
I think when issues like this come, it's imperative that we get a legal understanding properly. If somebody is trying to get an injunction, it's different from the person who has an injunction. And that is why their application is what was dismissed in court. So they've never had an injunction. They were trying to get an injunction. So all the news that was going on in the media, I mean, now we know what it was.
I see. How has this affected the mood of the star performer tonight, Kobna Kobna?
Yeah, it's not affecting anyway because on Tuesday when we heard this, we spoke to our lawyer, and our lawyer gave us the assurance that there's no problem at all. And so he has been rehearsing all this while. All the artists have been rehearsing. I mean, setup is already done at the National Theatre. So this morning was just something that we had to do to just clear the air for all parties to be aware and for Ghana to know that the concert is on.
Okay. We'll say a very big thank you, Frema, and we wish you all the best with the show tonight. Frema Ashka is manager for Kwabna High Life Sensation there. And they're talking about tonight's live concert by Kwabna, where AL and etc. other people will be performing, spicing up your evening 4 days ahead of Valentine's Day. Well, there appears to have been confusion in Abuja as Ghana's representatives to the Ecowas Parliament outnumbered the 8 that was required. It was supposed to be, they were supposed to send in 8 people, but Ghana sent in 9 people. So that 8 spots that were given to each country, Ghana decided to send 9 members of parliament. Well, 9 members of parliament are representing Ghana, but only 8 can be admitted. Fred Opariansa, one of the persons who's late, refuses to step down, and we'll be talking to the person who gave us the story. Elton Roby will also give us some more information on it. At this moment, we don't have him on the line, which means that we may have to call for another break. Welcome back, and I may have to apologize for how our telephone lines are treating us today, but I've got Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, our parliamentary correspondent, on the telephone line now to tell us what's happening in Parliament. Hello, Gakpo.
Hello, Gifty. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to have you. What's happening in Parliament?
And so the House has gone on a brief break. There's been earlier discussions about a number of other topics, including road traffic regulations and a few other things, but as I speak to you, the House is on recess. They'll resume sitting any moment from now, and then they will have the discussion on the 5th report of the appointment committee.
Okay, what is the mood? What has the mood been so far? I mean, we've seen people like Catherine Bawku, who has not done her national service. National service was a big issue for Otiko Jaba. We've seen someone like Mustafa Hamid come through and was also referred to some comments he made during the election, but he managed to answer in a way that sounded appetizing to the members of the committee. What's the mood? Are you able to gauge that?
So I met Catherine Bawku in particular. She's actually been in Parliament all day. Earlier, when there was a statement about poor road traffic regulations and parliamentarians were calling on the police to do more to ensure safety on our roads. She rose up to her feet and made a contribution to that particular, discussion, suggesting that it's about time that the police stood up and help deal with the road carnage and all of that. I had a brief conversation with her earlier in the morning, even before the session began. She was under the impression that this whole brouhaha over the issue of her national service is not exactly a big issue, and so she was wondering why it's been turned into such a huge conversation and that focus is not being placed on a lot more important things. Those were her words when it comes to the governance of the country. So she appears to be in good spirit, looking forward to how things will go when the report eventually comes to the floor. Earlier in the day as well, Isaac Etiama, the Minister Designate for Youth and Sport, is someone that I again supported in the House. And he was also, virtually in very good spirit, counting down to when the debate would happen and looking forward to approval for them as far as the 5th batch of nominees are concerned.
Right. And that's on Catherine Bawku's side. On the minority side, do you get the feeling that they may give her the kind of hard, tough times that they gave to Otiko Jaba?
That's the indication that I'm getting. So I had a conversation with some members of the minority side on the appointment committee. And, they're all looking forward to the report itself coming up on the floor. But the hints that they gave me was that when they met, after they had vetted Madame Katrina Feku, they held a closed-door session among themselves. And there, a decision was taken that they would ask her to go get a waiver from the National Service Secretariat, and that when they're able to, if she's able to get that waiver and she produces evidence to that effect, then they, the minority side, they are going to back her approval so that then she would be approved by consensus. But as at today, when I was speaking to some members of the appointment committee, the indication they gave me was that they hadn't heard from her since they had that closed-door session and took that decision that they want to go see her get a waiver and come back with evidence of that so that then they would approve her by consensus. And so the minority is insisting that until they see that particular waiver, then she won't be able to count on their support as far as the approval is concerned. And so, well, we may well see the situation as was the case with Bawku Jaba and what the way forward will be. But the confirmation did not come. The minority members that I spoke to indicated that further consultations are ongoing, and so it will take a while to know what the eventual stance of the minority will be when the issue comes to the floor.
Okay, so now that they're going to debate on the reports that the vetting committee will be presenting, what's the attendance in Parliament today like?
Earlier in the morning, there were a lot of the members on the floor of the House, both the majority and the minority side. Clearly, the numbers that we have seen on the floor were more than the required 50% of members of Parliament. But that was until the House adjourned. Since the House adjourned, a number of parliamentarians have stepped out to take care of other businesses. As I speak to you, on the floor itself, there aren't a lot of them. But it's expected that in terms of the approval itself, it may take a few more hours before we see it happen, because it looks like they are still waiting for a lot more members of Parliament to come in before then the approval processes itself will begin. So the leadership gives the indication that they hope to have a quorum by the time that the whole approval process begins, probably in the next hour or two.
One other interesting thing that has come up, Gakpo, is a suit against the swearing in and, of course, the appointment of Otiko Jaba as minister, gender minister. And two members of Parliament have taken the matter to court. I'm talking about Honorable Akando and Honorable Nogbe, member of Parliament for Shaiman. They have been in court. Have you spotted them in Parliament today? If you have, we've lost Joseph Opoku Gakpo again there, but I wanted to find out from him whether or not he spotted Mr. Akando and Mr. Nogbe, who are suing their Otiko Jaba over her appointment and her subsequent swearing in as minister, gender minister. They do not agree with that, but I've lost Gakpo. But he's been telling us about how Parliament looks like and the likelihood that they're going to be discussing the report by the vetting committee, which has vetted a group of people this week as well. Katrina Feku being one of them. And one of the issues that came up surrounding her was with her inability to undertake national service. If we are able to raise Gakpo again on the line, we'll engage him further.